Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Sri Matre Namaha, and welcome to the Sri Vidya Temple's online classes in chanting. Today we'll be starting a new class on Sri Narayani Stuti. So as I explained or gave a short little introduction in the temple's learning WhatsApp group, this stuti is the final stuti in Sri Durga Saptashati, also known as Devi Mahatmyam. So there are actually 4 songs or hymns of praise contained in Saptashati. And these are very, very beautiful hymns of devotional praise. They contain a lot of prayers to Divine Mother and ways of invoking her energy and presence in our lives. And they also contain a great deal of very beautiful philosophy about what is Devi's real nature, how she forms the universe, how she is a part of all beings, how she is a part of all the moving beings, like living beings, and also the unmoving reality. So she is forming everything. And she is also a divine being that is in a relationship with us as a loving mother, a loving and protective mother. So this 4th stuti is very, very critical. It's something that many very knowledgeable upasakas will recommend this stuti specifically to be done every day if possible. Of course, something like Durga Saptashati is a somewhat longer scripture, and it may take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to do parayanam of the entire scripture as a sadhana. But if we are not able to do that, which many people aren't in today's world with their busy schedules, it is very good to do any of these stutis. But this stuti particularly from the 11th chapter is highly recommended by the Durga Upasakas to be done every day or every Friday, every Tuesday, some kind of regular schedule of chanting. And so I gave some small idea of some of the benefits in the message that I put in the WhatsApp group, so everyone can read that to have an understanding. But essentially, especially when there's a lot of suffering, trials, tribulations in the world, whether it's in our own lives, our families, our nation, our country, or the world in general. This is a very powerful set of verses or mantras that we can chant to invoke the power of Sri Durga Devi into our own being and also into the world itself as a way of reinforcing the forces of dharma. So the forces of goodness, the forces of peace, abundance, harmony, nonviolence, all those things. Okay, so does anyone have any questions before we start the class? Okay. All right, so let me turn on the Shruti. Also, just to remind everyone, this Nārāyaṇi Stuti comes in the 11th chapter of Saptashati, and I had posted some docs in the WhatsApp group that make it a little bit easier. Or if you have the GRD Iyer's Gurukul book on Saptashati, that's ideal to use because I'll be teaching from that. If you didn't see those docs for any reason, you can find this online, but very frequently they'll be putting the entire line all as one unseparated word, and it's very hard to read from that or to learn from that. So I would recommend looking at the docs that I posted in that case if you don't have the book. And just to point out, there may be some slight variations between what I teach and the docs that I posted, but that's not a problem. They're just very small, minor variations. And also, I just want to point out that different online sources will show the Nārāyaṇi Stuti in a shorter form. So they might begin from the 8th shloka, which is the first shloka that mentions the phrase Nārāyaṇi namostu. But what I have seen from very knowledgeable people is that we would want to chant the first 35 shlokas, starting from the beginning of the 11th chapter and doing 35 shlokas. And that was something that was recommended specifically by one of the Sringeri Shankaracharyas in one episode that I found online. That was his advice. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing. So I'll start with the Ganapati prayer. Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnan Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyanayet Sarva Vikhnopashantaye. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Okay, so to start us off with repeating the lines, Anupama Amma, are you able to repeat the lines?
Yes, Amma.
Okay. All right. So we'll start from Om Namaschandikaye. Om Namaschandikaye.
Om Namaschandikaye. Om Namaschandikaye.
Om Rishiruvacha.
Om Rishiruvacha. Om Rishiruvacha.
Good. So the first few shlokas are in a longer chandas or meter than what we might be used to, which is Anushtup chandas. So there will be several shlokas in Anushtup chandas, which will be very familiar, but these beginning ones are longer. So whereas Anushtup chandas has 4 padas with 8 syllables in each pada, these shlokas have 11 syllables in each pada. So they're a little bit more tricky to chant, and there's a slightly different melody. You can use different melodies, but this is the one that I'm used to from the GRD practice, and so that's what I'll do. Devyaha te tatra mahāsurendre.
Devyahate tatra mahāsurendre. Devyahate tatra mahāsurendre.
Sendrasura vanhi purogamastam.
Sendrasura vanhi purogamastam. Sendrasura vanhi purogamastam.
Devyaha te tatra mahāsurendre. Sendrasura vanhi purogamastam.
Devyahate tatra mahāsurendre. Sendrasura vanhi purogamastam. Devyahate tatra mahāsurendre. Sendrasura vanhi purogamastam.
Good. Katyayanim tushtuvurishtalaabhat.
Katyayanim tushtuvurishtalaabhat. Katyayanim tushtuvurishtalaabhat. Let me repeat it. Katyayanim tushtuvurishtalaabhat. Katyayanim tushtuvurishtalaabhat.
Good. So this middle section in here is a little bit tricky because of the different vowels. So we have tushtu vurishta, tushtu vurishta labhad. Okay, now the second part. Vikashi Vaktrabja Vikashitashaha.
विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः
Good. कात्यायनीं तुष्टुवुरिष्टलाभाद्विकाशि वक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः.
कात्यायनीं तुष्टुरिष्टलाभात् विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः कात्यायनीं तुष्टुरिष्टलाभात् विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः
Good. Okay, now the next line. Devi प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद.
देवि प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद देवि प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद
Good. So I was able to hear the holding after dirgha in Hare Prasida. Hare Prasida. So that was good. Now the next part. Prasida Matarjagatokhilesya.
प्रसीद मातर्जगतोऽखिलस्य प्रसीद मातर्जगतोऽखिलस्य
Good. Now the full line. Devi Prapannartihare Prasida Prasida Matarjagatokhilesya.
देवि प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर् जगतोऽखिलस्य देवि प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर् जगतोऽखिलस्य
Good. Prasida Vishveshwari Pahi Vishwam.
प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वम् प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वम्
त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य.
त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य
Good. प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वं त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य.
प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वं त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य प्रसीद प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वं त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य
Good. Now the next line. आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका.
आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका
महीस्वरूपेण महीस्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि.
मयि स्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि मयि स्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि
Good. Just notice the Mahaprana sthi in sthitasi and holding after dirgha in Mahiswaru. Mahiswaru. Okay. Now let's do the full line. आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका महीस्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि
आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका महीस्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका महीस्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि
Good.
स्थितासि.
Good. So with the longer lines, as you're noticing, it's more difficult to maintain the breath until the end of the line or even the end of the half line. So here's where we want to practice taking in a deep breath before we begin each line. And with time, it should get easier. Otherwise, you'll just want to find places in the line, in the middle of the line, where you can take a quick breath without disturbing the rhythm and the timing. Okay, so let's do the next line. Apam swarupasthitaya tvayait
अपां स्वरूपस्थितया त्वयैत अपां स्वरूपस्थितया त्वयैत
दाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्य वीर्ये
धाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्य वीर्ये धाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्य वीर्ये.
Very good. It
धाप्-
sounded a little bit like the dapya
धाप्या.
was mahaprana dha, but that's just alpa prana. Actually, so in this version, the words have been split up to make it a little bit easier for chanting. So in some cases, it may be actually splitting a word apart. Like this is probably tvaya etat apya, but we put a hyphen in the middle of the word etat or etad, just because it makes it a little bit easier to understand the flow of chanting. So when I do the chanting and I'm breaking up the lines, I'm following that. So just keep in mind, it's not a grammatical splitting of the words. It's more a splitting of the sounds of the syllables. So we're doing syllable by syllable chanting. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so now let's try the full line. Apam swarupasthitaya tvayetadapyayate kritsnamalangya virye.
अपां स्वरूपस्थितया त्वयैतदाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्य वीर्ये अपां स्वरूपस्थितया त्वयैतदाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्य वीर्ये.
Good. So here, especially where these lines are longer, we just want to make sure that we don't have any pause in the middle of the line. And the way that you know what is a full line is that the line continues until you see the danda. The danda is that vertical bar at the end of a line. So even though the line breaks in the middle, like for example, in this shloka, in the first line, Adhara Bhuta Jagatastvameka, that's one pada or one half of a line. Um, so even though the line continues on the next line of text, we don't put any pauses or gaps in the middle of the line. In some styles of chanting, they may do that, but the way that Chalakere brothers chant, the way that we chant in the GRD Gurukul, the way that I've learned, we don't put any pause in the middle of the line. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so let's try the fifth shloka. Tvam Vaishnavi Shaktiranantavirya
त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या
Vishvasya bijam paramasi maya.
विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया
Good. Tvam Vaishnavi Shaktiranantavirya Vishvasya Bijam Paramasi Maya.
त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया
Good.
त्वं वैष्णवी
Some,
sorry did I do two? I didn't do two.
I think you did it 2 times already. That was very good.
Okay.
So we can do the next line. Sammohitam Devi Samastametat.
सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत् सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत्
त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः
त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः
Good. सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत्त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः
सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत् त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत् त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः
Very good. Okay, let's just do the next shloka and then I'll do a review. Vidya samastastava devi bheda.
विद्या समस्तास्तव देवि भेदाः विद्या समस्तास्तव देवि भेदा sorry विद्या समस्तास्तव देवि भेदाः
Good. Striyah samasta sakala jagatsu.
स्त्रियः समस्ताः सकला जगत्सु स्त्रियः समस्ताः सकला जगत्सु
Good. So in this line, we have a series of words that end in visarga, and then the next word begins with a sa sound. So we have holding on the visarga in this case, and then it will be pronounced as a is sound because of the following sa. So I'll do the full line. Vidya samastastava devi bhedastri samastas sakala jagatsu.
विद्या समस्तास्तव देवि भेदाः स्त्रियः समस्ताः सकला जगत्सु विद्या समस्तास्तव देवि भेदाः स्त्रियः समस्ताः सकला जगत्सु
Very good. So hopefully everyone heard all of the double s sounds in this line. Let's do the next line. Tvayaikaya puritamambayaitat.
त्वयैकया पूरितमम्बयैतत् त्वयैकया पूरितमम्बयैतत्
का ते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः.
का ते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः का ते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः
Good. त्वयैकया पूरितमम्बयैतत् का ते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः
त्वयैकया पूरितमम्बयैतत् का ते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः त्वयैकया पूरितमम्बयैतत् का ते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः.
Good. Okay. Okay, I see. There's a message. All right. So what I'm going to do now, thank you very much for repeating the lines. I'm going to go back to the beginning and starting from Om Namah Chandikaye, and I'm going to chant everything, each line 2 times so that everybody can hear the lines in succession and practice. Om Namah Chandikaye. Om Namah Chandikaye. Om Rishiruvacha. Om Rishiruvacha. Devyaः te tatra mahasurendrae sendrasura vanhi purogamastam. Devyaः te tatra mahasurendrae sendrasura vanhi purogamastam. कात्यायनीं तुष्टुवुरिष्टलाभाद्विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः कात्यायनीं तुष्टुवुरिष्टलाभाद्विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकाशिताशाः देवी प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर्जगतोऽखिलस्य देवी प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर्जगतोऽखिलस्य प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वं त्वमीश्वरि देवी चराचरस्य प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वं त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका महीस्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका महीस्वरूपेण यतस्थितासि अपां स्वरूपस्थितया त्वयैतदाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्यवीर्ये अपां स्वरूपस्थितया त्वयैतदाप्यायते कृत्स्नमलङ्घ्यवीर्ये त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत्त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत्त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः विद्याः समस्तास्तव देवि भेदाः स्त्रियः समस्ताः sakala jagatsu Vidya samastas devi bhedas striyas samastas sakala jagatsu Tvayaikkaya puritamambayai tatka te stutistavya paroktihi Tvayaikkaya puritamambayai tatka te stutistavya paroktihi. Okay, so any questions on the first 6 shlokas? Okay, sounds good. So I spent a little extra time on these because, like I said, they are the longer style of chandas, and the melody can also be a bit tricky. So of course, this is not Vedic chanting, so the melody is really not critical at all. You can chant it any way that is easy for you. But this is a very typical melody that's used. So if you happen to be chanting in a group and this is used, then you would be used to that already. Okay, so now starting from the 7th shloka, we'll be back to Anushtup, which should be a little bit easier. So I think there was a message from Nileshwari Amma about chanting the lines. Let me just check that. Okay. Nileshwari Amma, are you there?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll start from the 7th shloka. Sarvabhuta yada devi
Sarvabhuta yada devi Sarvabhuta yada devi
bhukti mukti pradayini
Bhukti mukti pradayini Bhukti mukti pradayini
Sarvabhuta yada devi bhukti mukti pradayini
Sarvabhuta yada devi Bhukti mukti pradayini Sarvabhuta yada devi Bhukti mukti pradayini.
Good. So I noticed that in the Gita Press version, I believe it says Swarga Mukti Pradayini instead of Bhukti Mukti. So again, what I'm teaching from is the GRD Gurukul book, which is based on Guptavati, which was something prepared by Bhaskararaya Mahin. So it is considered a very authentic version, especially in among knowledgeable people. Many of the traditional mattas will be using the Guptavati version. So sometimes people are not comfortable with this name Bhukti, Mukti Pradayini, and it seems that they would rather change the Bhukti to something else like Swarga, like heaven instead of enjoyment. But this is what we have in the text. Okay, so you can, if you're using a version based on Gita Press, feel free to chant it in that way. It's not a problem. But if you want to know what the what it is according to Guptavati, it's Bhukti Mukti Pradayini. Okay, now the next line. Tvam stuta stutaye kava.
Tvam stuta stutaye kava. Tvam stuta stutaye kava.
Good. Bhavantu paramoktayah.
Bhavantu paramoktayah. Bhavantu paramoktayah.
Tvam stuta stutaye kava bhavantu paramoktayah.
Tvam stuta stutaye kava bhavantu paramoktayah. त्वं स्तुतास्तुतये का वा भवन्तु परमोक्तयः
Good. सर्वस्य बुद्धिरूपेण
सर्वस्य बुद्धिरूपेण
जनस्य हृदि संस्थिते
जनस्य हृदि संस्थिते
सर्वस्य बुद्धिरूपेण जनस्य हृदि संस्थिते
सर्वस्य बुद्धिरूपेण जनस्य हृदि संस्थिते सर्वस्य बुद्धिरूपेण जनस्य हृदि संस्थिते
Good. Just notice the Mahapranas, dhi in buddhi, and then in the final word, sthi in samsthite. Samsthite. And this is very beautiful because in the first shloka, where we are offering our namaskara to Nārāyaṇi, so the ending is Nārāyaṇi namostute, we're praising Divine Mother, who is in the form of the buddhi in the hearts of all people. In the hearts of all people, there is this buddhi, and she, Nārāyaṇi, is in that form. So buddhi means, people often translate it as intelligence, but a good way to think of it is that it's an awakened form of intellect. So it's not like an ordinary intelligence or ordinary intellect, but it's a more enlightened or awakened form of intellect. And Divine Mother is the one who is that enlightening force that gives us that divine awareness. So that's very beautiful to think of her as residing in all beings' hearts, all people's hearts in that form. Now the next line. Svargapavargade Devi.
स्वर्गापवर्गदे देवि स्वर्गापवर्गदे देवि
Nārāyaṇi namostu te.
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
Good. So in these lines that begin or that end with Nārāyaṇi namostu te, or that mention Devi or Gauri and so on, it's important to notice that these are all ending in the hrasva form of ikara. So people who aren't familiar with standard rules of chanting will often lengthen these names. But according to Sanskrit grammar, because we're addressing Devi directly, it's Devi, not Devi. So there is a difference between the hrasva and dirgha endings. It changes the grammatical meaning. So we definitely don't want to say Nārāyaṇi namostu te. So people often will get into a sort of sing-songy rhythm, but we don't want to do that. We want to maintain the correct sounds and the correct grammar. So that's why it's Nārāyaṇi namostu te. Okay, and also frequently we're very used to saying the words namostu te in a very casual, everyday manner. But if you look at it, there is holding after dirgha. So it's namostute, namostute. Okay, so don't forget the holding on the is, namostute. Okay, so let's do the next line. Kalakashthadirupena.
कलाकाष्ठादिरूपेण
परिणामप्रदायिनी
परिणामप्रदायिनी
कलाकाष्ठादिरूपेण परिणामप्रदायिनी
कलाकाष्ठादिरूपेण परिणामप्रदायिनी कलाकाष्ठादिरूपेण परिणामप्रदायिनी
Good. विश्वस्योपरतौ शक्ते
विश्वस्योपरतौ शक्ते विश्वस्योपरतौ शक्ते
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
विश्वस्योपरतौ शक्ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
विश्वस्योपरतौ शक्ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते विश्वस्योपरतौ शक्ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
Very good. So now we come to a very, very commonly known shloka. This shloka will be chanted all the time during arati or during any part of a puja, during any part of a homa. It's very, very famous shloka. And this also occurs in the Durga Saptashati, which are 7 nuclear or key shlokas taken from Saptashati. And in fact, Nārāyaṇi Stuti contains, I believe, 4 out of 7 of those verses. So if you think of 7 important verses from Saptashati that form Saptashloki, and then you think that 4 out of those 7 very important shlokas are all coming during Nārāyaṇi Stuti, you can see how very essential and critical this stuti is. Okay, so let's do this shloka. Sarvamangalamāṅgaļye
सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये
Good. Shive sarvārtha-sādhike
शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके
Good. Sarvamangalamāṅgaļye Shive sarvārtha-sādhike
सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके No, sorry, I think okay. सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके
Very good. Sharanye Triyambake Gauri
शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरि शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरि
Nārāyaṇi namostu te
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
Sharanye Triyambake Gauri Nārāyaṇi namostu te
शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
Good. So very commonly when we've grown up hearing a certain shloka, very commonly every day or every week, in a casual setting, sometimes we will repeat it in a casual way. So when it comes to a shloka that we're actually quite familiar with, that's almost when it's more important to really look at the syllables, consider what are the rules of chanting and how they apply to that shloka, and make sure that we're still following the actual rules of chanting and not just repeating what we may have heard in a very casual setting. So even when there's a shloka that we're already quite familiar with, we definitely want to take the time to look at that carefully and make sure we're still chanting it accurately. Let's just check on the time. It's 8:17. Okay. All right, so we can go on a little bit. Srishtisthiti vinashanam.
सृष्टिस्थितिविनाशानां सृष्टिस्थितिविनाशानां.
Good. Just notice the Mahaprana in sthiti. Sthiti. Okay. Now the second half. Shakti bhute sanatani.
शक्तिभूते सनातनी शक्तिभूते सनातनी
सृष्टिस्थिति विनाशानां शक्ति भूते सनातनी
सृष्टिस्थितिविनाशानां शक्तिभूते सनातनी सृष्टिस्थितिविनाशानां शक्तिभूते सनातनी.
Good. So it sounds a little bit like when you're pronouncing sthiti, the Mahaprana is coming on the second syllable instead of the first. So I also have some, I find this a little bit of a challenge to pronounce this kind of a sound combination, but you just want to make sure that the first thi is the Mahaprana in sthi, and the second ti is just alpa prana. So the second ti is just regular ti. Okay, so you can, it may need a little bit of extra practice when you're practicing the lines. Just focus on this word or this srushtisthiti, just those two words together. If we practice them repeatedly 5, 10, 15 times, it'll get a lot easier. Okay, let's do the next line. Gunashraye gunamaye.
गुणाश्रये गुणमये गुणाश्रये गुणमये
Nārāyaṇi namostu te.
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
Gunashraye gunamaye Nārāyaṇi namostu te.
गुणाश्रये गुणमये नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते गुणाश्रये गुणमये नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते.
Very good. Okay, so now we come to another very, very common shloka, very powerful shloka about Sharanagati, taking refuge in mother or surrender. So surrender is not quite the ideal English word for Sharanagati or Sharanam. I think refuge is a better translation. So this is all about all the people with great difficulties are taking refuge in the Divine Mother, who is the one who is protecting all the people. Okay, so let's do this shloka. Sharanagata Dinartha.
Sharanagata Dinartha. Sharanagata Dinartha.
Paritrana Parayane.
Paritrana Parayane. Paritrana Parayane.
Sharanagata Dinartha Paritrana Parayane.
Sharanagata Dinartha Paritrana Parayane. Sharanagata Dinartha Paritrana Parayane.
Very good. Sarvasyarti Hare. देवी
सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवि सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवि
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते
Very good. So let's just do one more shloka before we stop for tonight. हंसयुक्तविमानस्थे
हंसयुक्तविमानस्थे हंसयुक्तविमानस्थे
ब्रह्माणि रूपधारिणि
ब्रह्माणि रूपधारिणी ब्रह्माणि रूपधारिणी
हंसयुक्तविमानस्थे ब्रह्माणि रूपधारिणि
हंसयुक्तविमानस्थे ब्रह्माणि रूपधारिणी हंसयुक्तविमानस्थे ब्रह्माणि रूपधारिणी.
Good. So I was able to hear the holding after Dirgha in Ste Brahma. Ste Brahma. So that was very good. Let's just do the next line. Kaushambha Ksharike Devi.
कौशाम्भक्षरिके देवि कौशाम्भक्षरिके देवि.
Very good. So here in this line, there's a somewhat unusual rule of chanting. If you're looking at the Gurukul book, you'll see that the Kaushambha and Ksharike, I believe, are in a blue color. And there's also a small star. So this is indicating, this is like just a visual reminder of the rule here. So this rule has to do with visarga that comes before the syllable ksha. So the conjunct akshara ksha following visarga. In that case, we actually pronounce the full visarga. So normally in the middle of the line, we would only pronounce the visarga in a kind of half form, not the full form. But here, because it's followed by the ksha, we still pronounce it in the full form. So I'll slow it down. So it becomes kaushambha ksharike. Kaushambha ksharike. Okay, so this is just a very specific rule of Sanskrit chanting. And you'll find some examples of that in Rudram as well. And also here. Okay, so I'll just do it one more time, and you can repeat after me. Kaushambha ksharike devi.
कौशाम्बः क्षरिके देवि कौशाम्बः क्षरिके देवि.
Good. Nārāyaṇi namostu te.
नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते.
Now the full line. Kaushambha ksharike devi Nārāyaṇi namostu te.
कौशाम्बः क्षरिके देवि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते कौशाम्बः क्षरिके देवि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते.
Very good. So when you're practicing, you can just emphasize the Mahaprana bha and kaushambha, just a little bit more, just a little bit. Okay, but thank you very much for repeating the lines. I think we'll stop there.
Thank you.
Just 3 minutes early. So just want to check if anyone has any questions about anything that we did tonight. Okay, so it seems like everyone is all good. Thank you for joining. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Sri Matre Namaha. And we'll continue in the next class. And we'll announce in the WhatsApp group when the next class would be. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you next time.